Oh man, I don't know, Al. I thought you got eliminated last week.
Oh, hey, I'm back. I'm back. And welcome back to the special sports cap edition of the Nightcap. Welcome back to Friends of the Nightcap, Matt and Jason.
Special sports cap, divisional round of the playoffs edition. Yeah, I hope you guys catched us last week. We gave our predictions for the wild card round. We're going to touch on that in just a second. But before we hop into the show tonight, if this is your first time watching the show, please hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. Helps us with the algos. Also, feel free to leave some comments below. Let us know what you guys think about our predictions before we get into this round here. And any other comments, anything else you guys want to touch on, please feel free to leave those below as well. But, I'm ready to hop into it, man. Let's talk about last week. The Raiders, they are who we thought they were.
Oh, you want me to go off on the Raiders right now?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I was gonna save that, but that was an absolute travesty of a game. What they need to do is they need to check the bank accounts of all those refs because they got some payola. And what should be happening?
Conspiracy theorists. All right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, look, if the Raiders got blown out, like outmatched 3-4 touchdowns, okay, I'm man enough to admit it. But of course, they lose by one touchdown, which was the one touchdown that they gave the Bengals that shouldn't have counted. So what's going on?
Well, like I've argued with you all week on this, it doesn't matter because in that situation, they would have replayed the down. They might have still scored. If they didn't, they were in field goal range. They would have still been up by 4 points. Therefore, Derek Carr still had to drive down the field. He still threw the interception to lose the game. The game's over. It doesn't matter. The Raiders lost. They got beat. I mean, the Bengals were a better team.
Yeah, they were in control most of the game. I mean, come on now. Can you say it with a straight face?
They cheated.
I mean, I'll just say this. The one guy that the Raiders needed to contain was Jamar Chase, and they didn't do it. He had 9 catches for 116 yards. Mm-hmm. It's as much on the defense for letting him get loose as it was. I mean, I'll agree with Al to this point. The referees were really bad, particularly when you consider that they had an entire extra crew on the side. Mm-hmm. It looked really bad. That was not the only game that the refs were bad. It seemed to be a theme of Wild Card Weekend, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, the play should have been blown dead, but to Gallo's point, they still were in field goal range and they probably would have scored anyway, forcing the touchdown or nothing, and it kind of still would have played out the same.
Yeah, for sure. And just to recap real quick on last week's games and our scores and predictions, Bengals over the Raiders, 26-19. Bills trounced the Patriots, 47-17. Buccaneers, 31-15 over the Eagles. 49ers, 23-17 over the Cowboys. Chiefs, 42-21 over the Steelers. And the Rams, 34-11 over the Cardinals. Based off of our predictions from last week, I have a record now 4-2. Al, 3-3. Matt, 5-1. And Jason, 5-1. So, I tried to call some upsets last week. Didn't really kind of work out like I thought. I'm not totally surprised. I think the Steelers was definitely a reach-a-roo. But, hey, overall, I didn't think we did too bad. Al, always going with his heart, running 500 here. But Matt and Jason, both of you guys had pretty good weeks. And but now here we go. Into the
I would have been 6-0 if you hadn't gassed me up into taking Philadelphia, dude.
You did. You would have been
suckered into that one. I shouldn't have done it, but
hey,
I learned my lesson.
All the
Don't bet
favorites
against
here,
Brady.
You got to step out a little bit. You know what I mean? Got to play it too safe. But let's get into these divisional round games. And starting off with, the Bengals at the Titans here coming up on Saturday. So, Al, why don't you go ahead and kick it off, man? Who do you got?
Like I said, this game shouldn't even be being played. What should be being played is the rematch of the Raiders versus Bengals. But I digress. That's not going to happen because...
No, it's not going to happen.
Because Goodell always screws the Raiders and he's a piece of garbage. Hopefully, Gruden sues him for everything that scumbag has. So, anyways, back to the Titans win because one, Derrick Henry is back. You've heard of him, guys? You've heard of him? Looking more monstrous than ever. They're going to feed him. At least 25, 30 touches, control the pace of the game, try to limit Burrow as much as possible, leave him on the bench. And it's going to be a tight one, but Titans pull it off.
All right. Matt, who do you got winning this game?
I agree with Al. It's going to be the Titans. It's a lot to ask the Bengals to win 2 in a row when they haven't even won one in 31 years. You know what I mean? Like, they just got over that hump. It's the first time for Joe Burrow. Believe it or not, Tannehill has been in this situation before. And the fact that Tennessee finished the AFC with the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry for like 8 weeks is crazy.
Impressive.
It's very impressive. And unlike the game that we're going to talk about later with the NFC number 1 seed, the Titans are not a finesse team. The Titans pound the football, and that's going to be a lot for the Cincinnati Bengals to handle on a short week with a lot of injuries. I mean, we saw their defensive linemen dropping like flies last week. I think it's just going to be Tennessee pounding the ball, and we finally get to get rid of, reversion into Miami Tannehill, and he gets to go back to what he has been, with AJ Brown and Julio Jones and all that good stuff. And getting Derrick Henry back is a huge part of that. So I think the Titans win this pretty easily.
Right on. What about you, Gal? Do you got a different take, or are you riding with everybody else with the Titans?
No, I agree with everybody else. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to get 30 touches though. From what I've seen in practice, he's ramping back up. They want him to be involved, obviously. But I don't think he's going to be in his normal, regular season role where he was getting the ball 30 times, crushing you the entire game. And, usually he destroys you in the second half and just wears you down. Their best bet would be probably to kind of rotate some of those other guys out with him in the first half and then let him loose in the second half. Because we all know Derrick Henry starts blasting defenses in the second half. They get tired. They can't stop a giant man like that guy. I mean, that guy's a beast. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. Difficult to tackle. He's so big, he's so strong, and he's fast too. So it's just, the Bengals, they're an okay defense, but I don't think they're going to be able to slow down that rushing attack. I agree with everybody else. And as far as it goes, it's a good matchup for the Titans because they're a running team. They can control the clock, keep Burrow off the field, keep those passing weapons down. And their defense is pretty good too. They were pretty solid all season long at keeping games low scoring. So, the over under on this game is like 47. So they're predicting a low scoring game. I think my prediction will be Titans by like 3, maybe like 24-21, something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Titans as well for a lot of the points you guys made. I just think they're the more seasoned team, the more toughened team. And also, too, they're coming off the bye week. I think Vrabel's a decent coach. I think he'll have his team prepared. I like this Bengals team a lot. They're a fun team to watch. It's like an exciting offense. But I just don't think they're balanced enough in the end to overcome the Titans. And the Titans are actually pretty solid this year. Tannehill's been playing some decent ball. So I'll be excited to see this game. But let's talk about these our 49ers traveling to Lambeau. Ooh, Al, I think I know who you're picking on this one, but why don't you go ahead and
we know who he's going to pick.
Well, let's see. Warner's banged up. Bosa's questionable. Jimmy G's banged up. So that doesn't equate well for you guys. My prediction is that the unvaxxed Messiah, Aaron Rodgers, shows Jimmy G what a real quarterback looks like. And Green Bay takes the Niners to Pound Town. I'm saying Green Bay doesn't just win. They win handedly. It'll be a blowout. And next week I will be dancing on the grave of the Niners. I'll be doing the gritty on the grave of the Niners. All right.
Well, just as we suspected, fueled by pure hate.
That's what
Iron Nation.
It's like that's what I thought was
in me. Coming out.
All right. Well, let's get a little bit of balancing here. Our resident Niners homer, Matt, please bring this one.
Yeah, they're not going to get blown out. That's one thing. I do think that there is some concern there with Warner's ankle. It looked like, when he first went down, it was like, oh man, that looks bad. Both I'm not so worried about. If he clears protocol, that's whatever, but that's a big one to watch out for. Jimmy being banged up. Listen, in 2019, the 49ers beat Green Bay with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing it 9 times. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to get a 220-point performance, but they're definitely, with Elijah Mitchell, going to get more than the 21 for 67 they got earlier in the season when they lost by giving Aaron Rodgers 37 seconds at the end of the game. I think it's going to come down to the end of the game again. This one's a hard one to pick, but, as a homer, I am going to have to take the Niners by 2. I think it's going to be, like a 24-22 type of game, something like that. I think if you limit Jimmy G's mistakes, he's never thrown an interception in 4 straight starts. So hopefully that trend continues. Limit his mistakes, feed Elijah Mitchell the ball. The 49ers defense was able to lock up CeeDee Lamb last week and really take away a lot of the Cowboys playmakers. If they can continue that trend, it's going to be a really close game. And in cold weather, I always favor the more physical team. And let's be real, the Packers are finesse. They're Charmin soft. And I just see that the 49ers can run the ball down their throat.
Good man. All right. Jason, who do you got?
Well, all right, let's go back. Let's go back to week 3. So the 49ers in that game, they got down early. They were down 17-7 at halftime. They came back to take the lead with 34 or 37 seconds left. They were up by 1 point. And then they managed to let Aaron Rodgers go 50 plus yards in 2 plays and lose by a field goal. So with that being said, they lost by 2 points. And at that point, they had no Elijah Mitchell. They weren't running the ball with Deebo Samuel like they are now. Trey Sermon had 10 carries for 31 yards, and they only lost by 2 in a last-second field goal. So what does that tell you? That tells you right now, if you look at the trend of the way the 49ers are running the ball now with Elijah Mitchell plus Deebo Samuel, that they're going to run the ball. I mean, they've run the ball all over every single team that they've played in the last half of the season. And there's no stopping Deebo Samuel when he gets carries out of the backfield. I don't care who you are. Let's look at this stat. I pulled this up just for Al. The Packers in the last half of the season, their defense is 27th defensively in rushing DVOA, 32nd in rushing success rate. So they've been terrible against the run in the last half of the season. Teams have been running all over them. And now you're talking about a team that's all they do is pound you in the face, run the ball all over you. They give it to their wide receiver to run the ball all over you. So look, the only way the 49ers can win this game is to obviously run the ball. They didn't do it in the first matchup and they lost, but they barely lost. What did they do in 2019? They have the success and the formula to beat this Packers team. They ran the ball all over them. They got pressure on Aaron Rodgers. So there's basically those 2 things that have to be done. Obviously, number 3, Jimmy G cannot throw any interceptions. Can't turn the ball over. He has to pretty much. He has to be perfect. It is a lot to ask because he does it every game, but he has to be careful with the football. Do not hold it too long. Do not get the strip sack fumbles. Do not throw a stupid throw and interception. Let the team back in the game. That was the biggest thing in last week. I mean, the Niners completely controlled that game, and that interception allowed them to come back in the game. So, number 1, run the ball over him. Number 2, get pressure on Rodgers. Number 3, don't take your foot off the gas pedal, please, Shanahan. Like, he does it every single game. I don't know what it is. When they get into the fourth quarter, it just seems like the offense shuts down. And then it lets every team right back in the game every single time. Now, if we get a lead, that's what we need. That's what the 49ers need in order to win. But they have to keep their foot on the pedal, keep running the same plays, keep running play action, keep pounding the ball in their face. Don't stop. Don't just start, running the ball up the middle every single time and getting 2 yards. Like, that's not going to work. Like, let's go. Like, keep the offense moving. Don't change anything. Pound the ball. Run up the score. That's how that should be your mentality. So, go ahead.
And to that point, the difference in the second half of the 49ers, what do we not have in that first Green Bay game? Like you talked about, no running game, but also we had a gimped up George Kittle. We had Brandon Ayuk in Shanahan's shithouse, and we hadn't had the emergence of Juwan Jennings. So now you're looking at a much more well-rounded offense, and the defense can't just stack the box. So it's a much more well-rounded team to what you're saying, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to be able to make plays. And, like I said, the Packers defense has not been good in the second half of the season. So I still think it's going to be close just because you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be difficult to deal with. So, I'm going to say 49ers by 3. But they have to do all those things that I just said in order to do that. It could go either way. If they don't do those things, they have to take care of the ball. That's number 1. and make sure they run the football. And they've been doing that against every team they play, no matter how good their defense is. So 49ers by 3, that's my pick.
You know, my heart is really with you guys. And I really want to go make this pick for the Niners, but I have a bad feeling. I don't know what it is. It's just that it's from my stomach. It's not coming from the brain. It's coming from the old gut. And I think the game's going to be close, but I hate to say it. I think I'm going to go with the Packers on this one. I think the Niners are a little banged up, and the Packers are coming off that bye. Both teams are pretty close matched. Rodgers is playing well, but I think, you know what it is? I think I just don't trust Jimmy. I think when you have two teams that are really close, you got to look at the quarterbacks, and usually the better quarterback will just do just enough to win. And in this case, I'm going to have to go with Aaron. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I think this could be Jimmy G's last game as a Niner. And then after this,
I think we all feel that way to a certain extent. And I think that's why we're all picking it close. This is the game that I'm even if I wasn't just a 49ers fan, this was the game that I would look at and say, this one's probably going to be the closest one of the weekend, just because of the nature of the way these two teams play each other. The fact that the 49ers going in banged up. I still think Aaron Rodgers is kind of overrated, particularly when it comes to the playoffs. I don't think he's a particularly good playoff quarterback. I think he's a stat patter in the regular season. That works out well for him. But when it comes to nut cutting time, I just don't think he gets it done. So that's the tale of two quarterbacks, right? Does Aaron Rodgers come out cocky and make mistakes and look around to blame somebody else? Or does Jimmy G come out and Jimmy G us like he did against the Cowboys and let a team back in when the team is absolutely dominating? I mean, a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter and you nearly blow the game. It's not good enough. So it definitely makes me nervous.
Yeah, and I think that's those types of things that make me nervous, right? Seeing the way the Cowboys game ends. And like you said, he hasn't played a complete 4 quarters. And that just makes me nervous going on the road in Lambeau, in cold weather. Like I said, again, defense is kind of banged up. The secondary is not that great, relies a lot on the pass rush. I don't know. It's going to be really close. But either way, I think it's going to be a great game. Looking forward to it. I hope I'm wrong.
But, I do want to give props to Ambry Thomas, though, because he locked up CeeDee Lamb ass last.
I'm going to say this, like what you just said is true. Because like if Jimmy plays like he did in the Cowboys game and you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers on the other side, no chance. Like he's going to come back. Of course, when you let a team do that by making mistakes and you let a team back in the game and you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers on the other side, there's no way that the 49ers can hold him off. It's not going to happen. So that, like I said, the only way that they can actually pull this off is that Jimmy takes care of the ball. He cannot have any turnovers, because if he does, then you're probably going to be right.
Here's the thing: you just feel that Aaron Rodgers is on a mission this year, seeing that in all likelihood it'll probably be his last year in Green Bay. So he has a mission. And besides, Green Bay doesn't lose in the divisional games; they lose in the NFC Championship games. All right, guys.
True. That's what
I can't argue with that logic. All right, let's move on to the Rams at the Bucs. Al, what do you got?
I got the Rams taking this one, man. Got to go back to week 3 when they went against the Bucs, where Stafford threw for over 300 and 4 tutties. The Bucs are just limping into the playoffs, man. Their right tackle is pretty much lost. So with Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Floyd and all them, and on the other side, doesn't bode well for Tom Brady. So, and plus, you still got King Cup, Triple Crown winner. So I'm going to take the Rams on this one as an upset over the Bucs in Florida, in Tampa Bay.
Nice. It should be a good one. Matt, who do you got?
It'll be good.
It's going to be Tampa Bay. I already said I can't pick against Brady twice in the playoffs, and I did it last week.
Don't do it.
And every step of the way, people have been, talking crap about Brady. Oh, Godwin's out, or Fournette's not doing this, or AB is having a meltdown, or whatever. And the dude just keeps getting it done. He's ageless, it seems like. And it's a home game for the Bucs. I think that the Rams, again, you're asking a lot of Matt Stafford, who's never won a playoff game before, to go and win 2 in a row, particularly one on the road. I think it's a big ask for them. I know that the Bucs felt like they were a little closer to the Eagles than they would have liked to have been, particularly given that the weather wasn't as nearly as much of a factor as we thought it was going to be. And so I think they come out hot. And I just think that, again, there's something about the Rams. There's something about the way McVay coaches. They're too finesse for me. I don't like the way they play.
There's that word again, Al.
They took advantage of that piece of shit Cliff Kingsbury and that overrated midget Kyler Murray.
Hey, watch your mouth. That was my quarterback.
Kyler Murray. Okay, I'm sorry. For as bad as Jimmy Garoppolo is, Kyler Murray threw the dumbest interception I have ever seen in the playoffs.
That was terrible. Yeah.
That was trash.
Well,
And so
the
they
shortest
can take
quarterback.
their trash ass home and sit at home with their 34-11 loss because that was garbage. And
You
Cliff
just got
Kingsbury
dislike
should
from
be fired.
Jacob right now. Just everyone else.
Big time.
I mean, the shortest quarterback threw the shortest pick six. So,
He
I mean,
threw
it's
it underhand, bro.
Apropos.
Underhand.
All right. Well, let's move
But
on.
by the way, final score for that one: Buccaneers 31, Rams 20.
Oh, get out of here with
Wow,
that 20 with a Cooper Cup. Come on.
All right, Jason, who do you got in this game, man?
Well, Al, weren't you supposed to be wearing a Cardinals jersey and cornrows today? So you could be
for my twin,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, I could not. I had to disavow him after that game.
Well, I mean, I'm not picking. Let me go here. I'm going to go and say this. We all did not expect the Rams to blow out the Cardinals last week. I thought that was going to be a very close game, and they came out and just blew them off the field completely. And as Matt said, that's on Cliff Kingsbury for not having his team ready to play. He said he's pure trash. He looked like pure trash. The team looked like pure trash out there. So I'll agree with that. Sorry, Jacob or Pups, whatever we want to call you. But your team looked like shit. They look terrible.
Take it easy with the low blows. He's not here to defend himself.
I know. That's okay.
Like
He's gonna
kicking him
watch
when he's down right now.
So, as much as that, I think that's partially on the coach. It's also partially on it's Kyler Murray's first playoff game, and he completely choked. That's the bottom line. That's a fact. So now let's get to this game. So Rams and Bucks. Now, just like you guys are saying with Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy G, I'm looking at this game as who's going to beat Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not going to beat himself. And Matthew Stafford's not going to beat him. I don't care how good he plays. It's not going to happen. So I'm looking at this like as you even look at the Eagles game and, hey, the Eagles aren't that great, whatever. But it doesn't matter that Leonard Fournette's banged up. They had Giovanni Bernard step up out of the backfield, and he caught a bunch of passes. I think they're going to utilize him the same way they did last week. The Rams, have a good front line. They're going to rush the passer. He's going to get the ball out very quickly. He's going to use his running backs all day long like he always does. It's been Tom Brady's game his entire career. So I expect to have you see a big game out of Giovanni Bernard if Leonard Fournette is in fact not playing. Right now, he's still very questionable. From what I'm hearing, he can't really run in practice. He's limited. So we'll see if he actually plays or not. But I still think they're going to utilize Bernard a lot out of the backfield. So you're going to see him dumping off passes to him all day long. And I think the Rams are not very good at stopping passes out of the backfield to running backs. So, he's going to do that. Still got Gronkowski, still got Mike Evans. They're not going to stop those guys. I think it's going to be a game where Brady just wins. He's the better quarterback, and the Bucs are the better team, even when they have all these guys out. Like, they're that good. Like, when they had all those guys, we wouldn't even be talking about this. There wouldn't be a compare. We wouldn't even be saying, oh, my God, the Rams might win this game. So I think it's not going to be a blowout, but I would say, the line right now is Bucs by 3. I think they win by a touchdown. I think it's 31-24. That's my pick.
All right. I'm actually going to have to disagree on that one. I'm going to go with the Rams on this one. I think the Rams are
good, man.
I think they got something to prove. I think they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to go to Tampa. I just think it's a bad matchup for the Bucs for whatever reason after seeing them in their game earlier in the season. And I think they will be able to run against this Bucs team. Also, Cup will have a good game. And I think they're going to pull it out. I don't know, just my intuition on this one. So,
and I think Aaron Donald gets a couple sacks and chokes out like 3 players.
Well, I will say this.
Von Miller also too. I think he steps it up. The guy. This is pretty much what he comes for now. He's an old vet. He's living for these playoff games. This is you can kind of see earlier in the season he was kind of checked out, but now he's getting more dialed in. And it was an impressive performance against the Cardinals. I mean, we're kind of kicking the Cardinals now, but last week we were seeing a different tune. So I don't know. I have a feeling the Rams are going to pull this one off. What were you going to say, Jason?
I was going to say that I do. what was I going to say? But it's pretty much Cam Akers. Like, that was impressive to me. Like,
Absolutely.
The guy tore his Achilles, like right before the season, and he's already back, and he had a hell of a game, like considering when you look at what he did against the Cardinals. So I think having him back and him involved in the running game is going to be a big boost for the Rams. That will keep them alive. But then again, you're dealing with the Bucs run defense is pretty damn good. They completely stifled the Eagles, who had one of the best running offenses in the league at the end of the season. So, I'm going to still say the Bucs, but yeah, Cam Akers definitely gives them a boost. Do they have a chance? Of course. I'm still not going to change my pick though.
All right. Well, let's move on to the last game on the list here. Bills at the Chiefs. Man, this is going to be a great game too. I'm excited about this one. Alex, I know you're going to pick the hater that you are. Go ahead. Maybe
the Bills are going to win. Just go back to week 5. They beat the Chiefs handedly. Like, it's the Bills' time right now, guys. Not only are going to beat them, guess what, guys? The Bills are my pick to go to the Super Bowl. All right, guys, in the AFC.
All right,
and fuck Mahomes and fuck the Chiefs.
Oh, gee. Oh, wow. All right. Jeez.
We know that.
So everything Al just said, I completely agree with. Listen, it's really hard to make 3 straight Super Bowls. I just don't think that the Chiefs are going to be able to do it. They let the washed Steelers hang around with them until 2 minutes in the first half when they were like, oh, wait, these are the trash Steelers. Let's go score some points, and finally got back on track. We've seen multiple games this year where the offense looks lethargic and they're not getting it done. And then we see what we saw at Buffalo last week, where Jordan Poyer tells the team before the pregame, look at these cocky motherfuckers over here thinking that they're just going to run our shit. It's the end of an era. I have not seen a team as hungry as this Buffalo team in a long time. And I think they're going to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They beat the brakes off of Belichick. I mean, they embarrassed him to the point where people were like, are you going to come back next year?
Yeah. I mean, they had
Josh Allen to me he throws some passes that I'm like, holy shit. He's like my favorite quarterback to watch, to be honest. And I got the Bills winning this one. I think it'll be a high scoring game, a pretty close game, but I got the Bills winning at 38-34.
Yeah. They had a perfect offensive game last week in worse conditions against a better defense. So you're telling me that the Chiefs are going to match up with that? No way.
And by the way, the Bills are the NFL's number 1 ranked defense.
Yeah. And while, the Patriots were like number 2. And they beat them handily, like you said, in worse conditions. So yeah, they're going to stomp the Chiefs, and they are going to the Super Bowl, regardless of who comes out.
One,
well, I mean, I agree with mostly what you guys say. I look back at that matchup, earlier in the season, and the Bills stomped them. They stomped them in Arrowhead, in which they're playing in Arrowhead. And they stomped them 38-20. Josh Allen had 315 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 59 yards rushing, and a rushing TD. So he just completely went ape and destroyed them. And, I'm looking at this game, I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. It'll be a fun game to watch. Like, I think both sides are just going to be launching the ball over the place. It's going to be fun. I hope so. Like, I hope we're not wrong, like how we were with the Rams and the Cardinals. But this one feels like it could be the craziest and the most fun game to watch, like out of the week. Like, I feel like Mahomes, he's not going to go down easy. He's going to come out. He's going to launch the ball over the place. They're going to do what they have to do. Now, it depends on what the Bills do. Are they going to play 2 high safeties? Are they going to make him throw underneath? Mahomes is finally, within the last half of the season, the last 5 or 3 or 4 games anyway, he's adapted to that, and he's made those underneath throws. He's moving the ball. He's not just relying on let's launch it down the field. That's what he was doing in mid-season form when he was playing terrible and they were losing. But he finally got it and said, hey, if they're going to play that defense, then I'm going to throw the ball underneath. I'm going to just move it slowly. And we're going to manage the ball and move it down the field. If he can do that, they're going to stay in the game. They're going to still score points. Kelsey, I think, has a big game. They're going to hit him underneath all day long. As far as my pick goes, I think the Bills are better on defense. You saw what the Bengals did to the Chiefs in the week 16, I think it was. They just did anything they wanted to that defense. They were throwing it all over, and that's Joe Burrow. Now we're talking about Josh Allen. I think he's a better quarterback. So my pick is the Bills as well. I think the Bills, they impressed me. I picked against them last week. I thought maybe the Patriots and Bill Belichick can pull up some magic. The hell no. He had no answer whatsoever to Josh Allen. He had no answer to anything. So they just dominated that game. And that to me was like, okay, I'm not going to ever do that again. So in this game, I'm going to say the Bills win. I'm not going to say it's going to be by a lot. I'm picking the Bills by 4.
All right. I'm actually going to go with the Bills as well. One thing I like what Matt said is the Bills just look very hungry. And it was a very impressive win last week. I think it's going to be a fun game. The Chiefs, like you said, Jason, I don't think Mahomes is just going to roll over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It'll be a shootout towards the end. But at the end, too, another point that Matt made, too, it's hard to make it to 3 Super Bowls in a row. That's very rare. So I think this is kind of where their team just kind of runs out of gas here at the end. I think the Bills are a little bit younger. They're looking good, and I think they pull it out. So very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. But we're almost out of time here, guys. I just want to kick it to the people watching at home. Let us know what you guys think. Who do you think is going to win and why? Why do you think Al's wrong? You know what I mean? And should we have him back on if he continues to keep his prediction below
4-0 this week? 4-0 this week.
Exactly right. So that's pretty much all I got for this week. Actually, one other question for Al before we wrap this up here. Do the Raiders want Jim Harbaugh?
Oh man, I was hoping you'd bring this up. I'm kind of bummed that we're almost out of time, but interests are there on both sides. You never know with Jim Harbaugh. He always plays close to the vest. Is he doing this just to get leverage, to get a better contract for Michigan, or does he legit think he has unfinished business in the NFL? If he feels that way, I mean, he was the QB coach for the Raiders. He wants to be somewhere where it's familiar. His wife is from Vegas also, so that there's familiarity there also. And you never know, man. I mean, they fired Mayock, who I really like. That was a signaling they probably won't bring Bisaccia back, and to just bring in, Jim Harbaugh and whatever GM he wants, or if he wants to be GM, you never know. So who knows? Maybe by the time this episode's out, they'll be announced, but I don't think so. It's rumors for now until I see an introductory press conference.
I actually, for one, hope that they do, just because Harbaugh is an entertaining coach to watch, and I just want to see the press conferences and his shenanigans on the sideline. So we'll see what
Bring
happens.
back the khakis.
I think that would be a great thing for the Raiders, honestly. I mean, you saw what he did with the 49ers when he was with our team, and he made Alex Smith a winning quarterback. So I think he could turn Derek Carr around and make him actually a winner. So I think that'd be a great thing. Will he leave Michigan? I don't know. You're right. He could just be using this as leverage. We don't know. I think he's happy where he's at, honestly. But
we'll find out next episode. Tune in.
Next episode. To be continued. Smash the like button. See you guys next week.
See you guys.